Gammelta. For the people, by the people.
Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1. For the News First team, I'm Dithmini De Silva. Let's start off with a look at the headlines.
Magnitude 2.5 tremor experienced in Selakhatargama. Floodwaters recede, however, arid weather conditions affect the north and east. Man shot dead in Valigama. His son also injured in the shooting. Catholic Church condemns the statements made by Jerome Fernando. President assures the cabinet is ensuring national security.
ජාතික ආරක්ෂාව තහවුරු කරන්න රජයේ ආණ්ඩුවක් ලෙස මෙසි ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගන්න බව කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයට ජනාධිපතිතුමා විසින් දැනුවා.
Crime Watch brings to you details of 3 gruesome murders reported on Monday.
Crime Watch.
Unidentified motorcycle gunman killed a 50-year-old man and injured his 20-year-old son on Monday night in Valigama. According to Sri Lanka police, 2 men on a motorcycle had opened fire at the father-son duo who were travelling on a motorcycle close to the Naguraka bridge in Denipitiya, Valigama. The 50-year-old man died on the spot and the injured 20-year-old was rushed to hospital.
කට්ටිය දුවනකොට අපි අපි දන්නේත් නැහැ. කටින් පත්ත කොල්ල වගේ සද්දයක් අපිට ඇහුණා.
විදි 4ක් විතර සද්ද ඇහුණා. ඊට පස්සේ විදි 10ක් විතර ගියා කපිටට පටපට.
Preliminary police investigations revealed that a T-56 assault rifle was used to commit the crime. 20 shell casings were discovered at the crime scene by Sri Lanka police. Investigations are underway to locate the arrested shooters.
Crime Watch.
A 52-year-old man was beaten to death with a mammoth in Sevanagam, Habarana. Sri Lanka police said that the murder was the result of a heated exchange over the disposal of water to a rice field. The deceased was a father of 3 and a 38-year-old father of 2 who committed the crime had surrendered to police, following which he was arrested.
Crime Watch.
A 62-year-old man had stabbed to death his 30-year-old son in Indruwa, Koskoda. Sri Lanka police said the murder was a result of a heated exchange between the father and son. The 62-year-old man was arrested over the murder.
Crime Watch.
In more local news, a notice has been made stating that the lawsuit filed by Sri Lanka at the Singapore High Court over the Express Pearl maritime disaster is to be referred to the Singapore International Commercial Court. Sri Lanka had filed a case seeking compensation for the damages caused to its marine environment following the shipping disaster in 2021. The country's Attorney General's department said that government decisions with respect to the notice will be informed to the Singapore High Court following consultations with all parties.
Sri Lanka's Attorney General's department said that when the case was called up at the Singaporean High Court on Monday, the notice was made to refer the matter to the Singapore International Commercial Court. The case will be called up again for consideration on the 1st of June 2023, and Sri Lanka is expected to announce whether the matter will be moved to the Singapore International Commercial Court or not on that day. The Marine Environment Protection Authority MIPA says measures have been taken to reassess the damages caused to Sri Lanka's marine environment following the Express Pearl maritime disaster. MIPA Chairman Attorney Aselabi Rakavas said the compensation claim report is being formulated based on the directives of the Attorney General's Department. He said that the damages caused to Sri Lanka's marine environment following the Express Pearl maritime disaster until the 30th of April 2023 will be assessed. Sri Lanka's marine environment following the Express Pearl maritime disaster was previously assessed to the 30th of November 2022. The Marine Environment Protection Authority stated that based on the new assessment, the compensation claim could increase above $6.5 billion.
Sri Lanka's Cabinet of Ministers granted approval to proceed with the restructuring of public enterprises based on a policy proposal.
අද රාජ්‍ය ව්‍යවසායන් විශාල ප්‍රමාණයක් බර මේ රටේ ජනතාව
At present, any state enterprise has become a massive burden to the people. According to the global system, if an organization cannot cover the cost of operations, at least if it is not restructured, the organization will collapse and the country will not be able to bear the burden. Many organizations have proved over an extended period of time that they are unable to run in a profitable and efficient manner. A specialist committee on this matter has recommended the policies and plans to restructure state enterprises. Accordingly, cabinet approval was granted on the 25th of September 2022 for the policy to establish the unit to restructure state enterprises. Expediting the implementation of this policy and restructuring state enterprises has been identified as one of the main ways in which the country can come out of the crisis that it is facing.
The governor of southwest China's Yunnan province, Wang Yubo, will visit Sri Lanka for a 5-day official visit. Cabinet spokesperson Minister Bandulu Gunawardena made the announcement during today's cabinet briefing.
මේ මැයි මාසේ 16 වෙනිදා සිට 20 වෙනිදා දක්වා මහජන චීන සමුවාන්වේ යුවන් පළාතේ ආණ්ඩුකාර වං
From the 16th to the 20th of May, Wang Yubo, the governor of Yunnan province of the People's Republic of China, will visit Sri Lanka. In the meantime, it has been proposed to sign a memorandum of understanding between the governor of the Yunnan province and the Officer of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka as well. This will facilitate the travel between the respective province in China and Sri Lanka, mutual economic trade, commerce, education, tourism, cultural exchanges and health sectors as well. The cabinet has approved the proposal to sign the memorandum of understanding in this regard.
ක්ෂේත්‍ර සඳහා ශ්‍රී ලංකාවට සහයෝගය ලබා දීමට අපේක්ෂා කරනවා. එකී සහයෝගයන් ලබා ගැනීමට අදාළ වෙන පරිද්දෙන් අවබෝධතාවක විසඳුමක් අත්සන් කරන්න ඉදිරිපත් කළ යෝජනාවට කැබිනට් අනුමැතිය ලබා දුන්නා.
Now on to a headline-making story. A minor tremor was experienced in the eastern region of Sellakataragama on Monday night, and this was the first such seismic event reported in Sri Lanka so far this year.
A minor tremor was experienced in the eastern region of Sellakataragama on Monday night. The Geological Survey and Mines Bureau Acting Director Ajit Prema said the tremor measured a magnitude 2.5 and it had taken place at approximately 10:24 p.m. He added that the tremor was recorded across all seismic meters in the country. Since the 10th of February 2023, a number of tremors were experienced across Sri Lanka. 10th of February 2023, a magnitude 3.5 tremor reported from Wallavaya and Buttala. 11th of February 2023, a magnitude 2.3 tremor reported from Wallavaya. 12th of February 2023, a tremors reported from Buttala and Unawatuna. 22nd of February 2023, two tremors measuring magnitude 3.0 and 3.5 reported from Buttala, Palvatta, Anapallama and Wallavaya. 18th March 2023, a magnitude 2.6 tremor reported from Hajiar and Palatupana in Kirinda. 19th of March 2023, a magnitude 3 tremor reported from Timbrivava in Gomarankadavilla, Trincomalee. 30th of March 2023, a magnitude 3.7 tremor reported 24 kilometers in the seas of Kalutara. 24th of April 2023, a magnitude 4.4 tremor was reported in the southeastern seas of Sri Lanka, some 25.8 kilometers away from Hambantota.
More than 10,055 people belonging to 2,511 families in 9 districts have been affected by the bad weather that was experienced in the past few days. The Disaster Management Centre says that 1 person was reported missing and 7 others were injured due to various disasters. Floodwater levels in some areas have started to recede.
The Galle and Matra districts were the worst affected by heavy rains that were experienced for several days. Operations are still underway to locate an individual who had gone missing after he was washed away by floodwaters last evening in Pavanmella, Akurasa. The victim was a 42-year-old resident of Lower Australia. The individual had been swept away while attempting to remove debris that was flowing with the flood waters. The Irrigation Department says that the Gin and Nilwala rivers are still at minor flood levels. Nilwala River reached minor flood levels in the Panadugama and Talgahagoda areas. The Irrigation Department says that the Gin River from Baddegama area is at a level of risk as well. Kudaganga has reached the dangerous level in the Kalavellava area. The irrigation department informed the people living in the surrounding lowlands to be vigilant. News First correspondents said that water levels in some lowlands areas that were flooded with heavy rains still remain inundated. This was the situation opposite the Kodapitiya Kandu Vidyalaya this morning. Many lowlands around the Athuraliya Divisional Secretariat were inundated. The water levels at the Akurasa main bus stand had reduced to some extent. News First correspondents say that the level of floods in the lowlands of Kaddua is generally decreasing as well. Many lowlands and roads in the Mapalagama, Nagoda, Unanvitiya areas still remain inundated. The Gaul Mapalagama road was inundated from Nagoda and the Mapalagama Alpitiya road was inundated from the Mapalagama town. News First correspondents reported that due to this, traffic in the area was severely affected.
The early landslide warnings that were issued to 5 districts are still in place. Accordingly, early landslide warnings were issued to Nelluwa, Baddegama, Yakkalamulla and the Alpitiya Divisional Secretariats in the Gaul district and the Walasmulla Divisional Secretariat in the Hambantota district. According to the National Building Research Organisation, early landslide warnings are still in effect for the Palinda Nuwara and Walalawita Divisional Secretariats in the Kalutara district, Athuraliya, Mulatiyana, Akurassa, Kotapala, Pitabad and Pascoda Divisional Secretariats in the Matare district. The National Building Research Organisation added that early landslide warnings have also been issued to Ahaliyagoda and Kiriyella Divisional Secretariats in the Ratnapura district as well. The Department of Meteorology says that the warm weather was reported in areas of the eastern and northern provinces and the Monaragala and Polonnaruwa districts today, despite other parts of the country experiencing heavy showers as well. Directors of the Met Department, Shiromani Jayawardena, added that the civilians in the areas experiencing warm weather are requested to consume water at regular intervals to avoid dehydration. The eastern and northern provinces and the Monaragala and Polonnaruwa districts are experiencing levels of warm temperature that have raised concerns. Those living in these areas are advised to stay hydrated and to try their best to stay in the shade. Special attention should also be given to the elderly as well. We also advise that people limit work that requires excess energy.
Taking a look at another headline-making story, the Catholic Church says that it strongly condemns the statements made by Jerome Fernando that disrupts religious harmony.
පසුගියදා ජෙරම් ප්‍රනාන්දු නැමැත්තා විසින් සිය දේශනාවකදී සිදු කරන ලද ප්‍රකාශයක් හේතුවෙන්
It is observed by us that the recent comments made by a person known as Jerome Fernando during one of his sermons likely pose a threat to religious coexistence in the country. We would like to stress that Jerome Fernando is not a Catholic priest and is not linked to the Catholic Church in any manner. We believe that his comments would also taint the views of his followers with regard to other religions. We cannot disregard the fact that these comments would threaten religious coexistence and unity and could lead to communal issues as well. We recall that a selfish and destructive program took place in the country for petty political gains and were orchestrated based on the comments made by various extremists and politicians in order to incite religious tensions and pave the way for destruction in the country. We earnestly request the peace-loving people of this country to stay away from those people who wish to incite racism and religious extremism. Social media had revealed the various overseas links of Jerome Fernando as well as his conduct. It is alarming to note that the authorities have failed to take any action regarding this. We condemn the statements made by Jerome Fernando that hurt the religious sentiments of our brothers and sisters from Buddhist, Hindu and Islamic faiths and also put in danger the religious coexistence of the country. We reject those statements made by him. He had constructed massive luxurious halls and we need to look into the fact as to how he had obtained permission for these constructions as well.
සුකෝපභෝගී ශාලාවක්. දැන් මේ දේවල් තනද්දී ඒවට අවසරය ගත්තේ කොහොමද කියන එක ගැන හිතන්නට ඕනේ. ක්‍රමවේදයක් හරියට නිත්‍යානුකූලව අනුගමනය කරලා තියෙනවා කියන එක පිළිබඳ ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා.
Comments on the matter was also raised at the cabinet briefing.
In the past few days, we have seen through social media that an infamous prophet was insulting Buddhism and other religions. Was there any dialogue regarding this in the cabinet?
තිකරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා අවධාරණය කළා මේ රට මීට වර්ෂයකට පෙර තිබුණ තත්වයට සාපේක්ෂව
In the cabinet, the president emphasized that compared to the situation a year ago, he has transformed this country into a peaceful, non-violent country where basic human rights are protected. Every citizen has the right to live in a place of their choice. The president has officially informed the security forces and all other parties to take all possible measures to prevent any activity that threatens such freedoms. Some factions want to go back to the situation that was there a year ago, where houses were burnt, people were killed and stabbed, violence spread, and these were taken before the international community. And this had an unfavorable impact on the country. Some factions are trying to create racial disputes in the country and bring about violence once again through social media and other alternate groups. The president informed cabinet that the government will take the necessary measures to protect fundamental rights and ensure national security.
මූලික මිනිස් අයිතිවාසිකම් ආරක්ෂා කරන්නටත් ජාතික ආරක්ෂාව තහවුරු කරන්නත් රජයේ ආණ්ඩුවක් ලෙස නිසි ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගන්න බව කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයට ජනාධිපතිතුමා විසින් දැනුම් දුන්නා.
Last Friday, the University of Colombo was surrounded by armed forces and police, and vehicle checks also took place. What is the reason for this?
බුද්ධ්‍යංශවට ලැබෙන සුළු තොරතුරු සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඊටම සංවේදීව කඩිනම් පියවර ගන්න.
As the Minister of Defence, the President has issued directives to take prompt measures regarding any information that the intelligence services receive. We are a nation that needs to learn from the past. As intelligence information was disregarded, the country lost many lives and the economy took a severe hit due to the Easter attacks. Some say the attack could have been prevented if necessary intervention was made. The government has a responsibility to take necessary measures based on intelligence information to ensure national security. We are fulfilling that responsibility.
Samagi Youth Palavege Vice Chairman Rehan Jayavikrama was summoned to the CID on Tuesday morning to provide a statement over the incident where Ranil Wickramasinghe's house was set on fire on the 9th of July 2022 for damages caused during the incident.
මට අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවෙන් දුරකථන මතුමක් දීලා දෙවනි පාරටත් එන්න කියලා තියෙනවා කට උත්තරයක් ගන්නයි කියලා. ඉතින් ඇත්තටම මේක
I was informed via phone to arrive at the CID to record a second statement. This fire happened on the 9th of July and I had already said what needs to be said. One thing I must say is that the government does not chase the murderers and those who are corrupt, but chases a young politician. As a member of the SJB, I am not afraid of such acts done to incite fear.
මේ වගේ බිය ගැන්වීම් වලට කිසිසේත්ම සමගි ජන බලවේගයේ සමාජිකයෙක් හැටියට බය වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියන එක මේ අවස්ථාවේදී පැහැදිලිව කියන්න කැමතියි.
Sri Lanka Sports, Shipping and Aviation Minister Nimal Siripala De Silva said that the Hambantota port with China cannot be used for war.
Sri Lanka Ports, Shipping and Aviation Minister Nimal Siripala De Silva spoke to WION on the sidelines of the 6th International Indian Ocean Conference in Bangladeshi capital Dhaka and said that Sri Lanka has to be mindful about the security of India. The minister emphasized that New Delhi is helping Colombo build its energy sector and requested India to add value to the Trincomalee port. The Sri Lankan Ports Minister also expressed confidence on the Indian conglomerate Adani Group's investment in Colombo port. The minister added that while Colombo had to sell the Hambantota port to China, it has ensured that the port is not used for war or security purposes. He said the Sri Lanka's agreement with the Chinese is very clear that it cannot be used for any war or security purposes but only trade.
Sri Lanka and Myanmar have launched talks to establish direct air connectivity between the two countries.
Ambassador of Sri Lanka to Myanmar, Janaka Bandara, held a meeting with the top management of Myanmar Airways International with the view of establishing direct air connectivity between Sri Lanka and Myanmar. Chairman Ang Zaw and Chief Commercial Officer Thanes Kumar represented Myanmar Airways International in the discussion. The ambassador highlighted the significance of direct air connectivity in promoting the tourism industries of both destinations. It was underlined that travelers between the two countries were wasting considerable time at transits, while the flight time is just less than 3 hours. The ambassador assured that there would be a sizable traffic up and down between these two significant destinations, underpinned by historic, cultural and religious affinities.
A large number of explosions were reported in the Ukrainian capital Kiev, with air raid sirens going off as well. Foreign media reported that air defense systems can be seen shooting down suspected Russian missiles. Government messengers warned people to keep away from windows as debris from intercepted missiles fell from the sky. City Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said some rocket debris had fallen in central districts, including on the city's zoo. There are reports of injuries. One Kiev official said the complex attack, which used both drones and missiles, was described as being exceptional in its density. In the past few days, President Volodymyr Zelensky has been on a European tour in which he has been promised several $1 billion worth of military equipment by Western allies, including UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and President Emmanuel Macron of France. New Zealand's Prime Minister told local media at least 6 people have died and others remain unaccounted for following a fire in a hostel. Emergency services were called to the 4-story Loafers Lodge hostel in Wellington just after midnight local time on Monday. Dozens were rescued from the building, but police said a number of people remained unaccounted for. Chris Hipkins warned the number of dead was likely to increase. Upon arrival at the blaze, firefighters found the top level of the building ablaze. By 4 a.m., at least 20 fire trucks were involved in helping extinguish it. Fire and Emergency District Commander Nick Piat described the fire as Wellington's worst nightmare. Police warned they could not be more specific on the number of deaths until they could access the building. The U.S. Treasury Department reiterated it expects to be able to pay the U.S. government's bills only through the 1st of June without a debt limit increase, increasing pressure on congressional Republicans and the White House to reach a deal in coming days. In her second letter to Congress in 2 weeks, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen confirmed that the agency will be unlikely to meet all U.S. government payment obligations by early June, triggering the first ever U.S. default. She said the debt ceiling could become binding by the 1st of June. The new date reflects further data on revenues and payments received since Yellen told Congress on the 1st of May that Treasury would likely run out of cash to pay government bills in early June and potentially as early as the 1st of June. It comes a day before U.S. President Joe Biden is expected to meet House Speaker Kevin McCarthy for talks and ahead of an overseas trip for the president that starts Wednesday. The actual date Treasury exhausts extraordinary measures could be a number of days or weeks later than these estimates, Yellen said in today's letter, a shift from May 1st letter that warned only of a number of weeks later. She said she will provide an additional update to Congress next week as more information becomes available. That's a wrap of the lunchtime news. Join us again at 9 p.m. for primetime news on TV1.